everybody, my name is Luke Mar and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are getting into our July 2020 roast. These are the only things that make me feel good about myself at this point. It's like interesting to see fashion move throughout the coronavirus pandemic. I feel like this month is actually a lot better than the June 2020 roast, and I'm just genuinely more interested in them, so I'm excited for today's video. So first up is TikTok star Addison Rae, who, if you are younger than, I don't know, 24, you've probably heard of. Now, she and a bunch of other TikTok stars were photographed by Vanity Fair, and here she is wearing Maison Valentino. Now, unfortunately, I don't love this look whatsoever. The sheer sort of chiffon embroidered with the pink roses and the green stems and, you know, foliage, it's just a bit blah. And then on top of that, you have this sort of weird under bodysuit that you can see through the dress because she's wet. And then also, I don't know why Vanity Fair thought like her holding a hula hoop was gonna become part of the experience. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. On top of that, like also prop styling, you'd think you'd get, I don't know, a pink hula hoop instead of a red or orange one to match your Valentino dress. That's just my opinion. I actually would like to see a lot of these TikTok stars sort of move and go in a direction that is a lot more fashionable. I don't think that they necessarily have to wear Valentino or Gucci or Dior. I think that they actually could start to work with really cool, young, up-and-coming internet-based fashion brands that are not, you know, making all of their shit in different countries and not paying their workers. No, they can actually be working with cool, independent, small businesses that are trying to up their social cachet. In reality, it's gonna be beneficial for these gigantic TikTok stars because not only are they actually developing their own looks with cool and young designers, they also sort of could make those brands not in debt to them, but in reality, it's something that they've discovered, they've crafted, it's a relationship that they've made, and in reality, they have a lot more leeway in terms of creating custom looks, custom styles, because they've been patroning these cool, young, independent, small businesses for a long time, whereas Valentino is gonna send this dress to Addison Rae and say, well, good luck. I'm kind of hoping that a lot of these TikTok people will sort of think a little bit further and ahead than just wearing blah dresses. Next up is Billie Eilish, and for the cover of GQ magazine, I believe it's the British one, she is wearing Sterling Ruby. Now, if you don't know who Sterling Ruby is, he is an artist who opened up his own label called like SRLA something something. You probably know him because he actually worked with the menswear fashion designer Raf Simons whilst he was at Dior and sort of helped create his first haute couture collection at the house. In reality, I do think there are some really cool aspects to Sterling Ruby's looks. I mean, there are all those beautiful paint covered pieces that honestly kind of play into Sterling Ruby being an artist, but unfortunately this like neon green plaid look, I get it, it's Billie, it's black, it's green, it's neon, it's, you know, her aesthetic, but to me it just doesn't feel super duper Sterling Ruby-esque. Listen, I'm not an expert on his work, so maybe there are some little hidden details that I'm not seeing, but I get it, but I want a bit more from them. I think that there actually could be some really cool pieces that Sterling could do in that sort of signature Violet Beauregard silhouette that Billie loves oh so much. Another picture from the spread actually has Billie wearing a couple of signature brands of hers. The top that she's wearing is from The Incorporated, which is a brand that she has worn in the past. It was that really cool sort of secondhand upcycled carpet look. She's also wearing Trip NYC, which are the yellow and red plaid pants, and of course some chunky Gucci sneakers, because as we've learned about Billie Eilish, she loves a chunky goddamn sneaker. In reality, is it Billie to the umpteenth degree? Absolutely. Something that's really ridiculous that I probably shouldn't expect, but I want to expect, is that every time Billie has a different look and a different color with said look, I kind of want her hair to match it perfectly. It just feels very cool and interesting and lovely. I'm happy that Billie is sort of patroning the young brands that she's worked with in the past, especially in coronavirus times, but I want to see a little bit more when the corona pandemic is over. Next up is Billy Porter. Now you probably know Billy Porter from Pose and from wearing some of the greatest creations on the red carpets in recent years. Now here he is shot for Essence magazine and he's wearing Area. Area is a young US label. They're sort of beloved for their studded fringe and their, you know, sort of piping with these beautiful like crystals. We kind of talked about them a little bit in last month's roast, but here Billy Porter is wearing one of Area's sort of signature silhouettes. It's this kind of ridiculous opera coat with like no sleeves, but these gigantic shoulder pads that aren't even, I don't even know if they're shoulder pads, they're just sort of like shoulder lumps. Is it something that you could wear every single day out and about? No, but for a photo shoot like this, I love this. I'm so happy about it. It's a crazy silhouette. If anybody can pull it off, it is Billy Porter, so I'm happy to see it. Another look for Essence with Billy Porter is this amazing Thom Browne moment. And honestly, this is a look that, if you're really thinking about it, is mixing and mashing amazing historical references. So if you don't know, this is a Thom Browne look, and in reality, it's a reference to 18th century French court dress. I mean, you have the cage crinoline, you have a beautiful panier, which is that exaggerated lumps on the thighs and the hips, and then you sort of have a tight bodice. But in reality, it's done through the Thom Browne lens, which in reality is always sort of looking at corporate dress culture, so suits and ties and jackets and pants that fit perfectly. And so you can see actually trompe-l'oeils of buttons and lapels and ties and things like that on this dress. I also have to say that the shoes, which are these sort of high-heel derby shoes, are fantastic with this light blue. It's sort of reminding me of like an Air Jordan color that Virgil Abloh did. And the thing that I think is so fantastic is the wimple. Now you're probably like, what is a wimple? A wimple essentially is a headpiece that has this sort of crazy chiffon coming off of it. And here you can see it in this shape. It's sort of like heart-shaped on top of Billy's head. It was really popular in the medieval times in Europe. Women would like pluck their hairlines and then wear a wimple so you could like see the wimple and like their receding hairline. I don't know, the medieval times was fucking weird. But even in the midst of a pandemic, somebody is able to mix 18th century French court dress with medieval crazy headpieces and corporate culture and mix them all into one, and in reality, it looks good. It's interesting, it's fun, it's different, it's something that we need to be seeing in the midst of this pandemic. I think it's very important to note that creativity really does come out of dark times. Next up is a fan favorite, Blackpink, and they are all wearing Marine Serre. I am obsessed and so happy. Let's start with Jisoo. She's wearing a little denim purple sleeveless button-up jacket and purple shorts, and I believe her purple shorts have the Marine Serre crescent moon on them in black leather. She's wearing one of the Marine Serre belts that has all these different sort of like upcycled keychains and pieces. On top of that, this beautiful denim jacket actually has the Marine Serre crescent moons, and I'm pretty positive is upcycled denim that's probably hand dyed in this purple color. Next to her is Jennie, and Jennie is wearing a print that is a take on the Marine Serre crescent moon. And if you don't know, the Marine Serre crescent moon is sort of one of the brand's biggest branding aspects. It's something that is instantly recognizable, and Marine Serre, the label's namesake, has been constantly evolving the crescent moon every single collection in a way to keep the brand heritage popping, moving, and experimenting. In reality, I love the top. They have that beautiful sort of embroidered crescent moon. She's wearing a little bra top in that crazy print, and she's wearing a purple little skirt that's multi-toned. And honestly, again, like upcycling meets branding, meets one of the most important brands of the 21st century. I'm happy. Rosé is wearing a moire jumpsuit from what I'm understanding. I'm just looking very closely here. It has this beautiful white piping, which is all done in a contrast stitch, which we love to see. And then she's wearing a simple little bandeau in that crazy Marine Serre updated print. And as for Lisa, she is wearing a gorgeous little crop top Marine Serre long sleeve moment in that print as well. I'm trying to think of the collection that this is from. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but we'll put it here. And then she's wearing a cute little pair of purple shorts. Again, I really love this upcycling of denim. And she's wearing another shirt, which it looks like, and she's put it through the belt loops. And Lisa, that is a moment, and I am here for it, and you are kind of turning the party. It's like the most interesting styling choice from the entirety of the looks. Honestly, I'm happy to see Blackpink actually all wearing the same designer in looks that are really, you know, quite put together. It all references each other. It all is coming from the same place, and the girls are matching in a way that distinctly shows each of their own styles, yet is all coming from a same inspiration and reference point. So this is what I like to see. Sold. Next up is Cardi B, and now she is wearing a whole lot of Louis Vuitton. Now, I'm pretty positive that this look was actually taken by a young artist or designer. It was a skirt, and he turned it into a crop top and skirt that has the Louis Vuitton monogram, and I have to say that the LV monogram honestly is probably one of my favorite monograms of all of the brands. It's pretty much the most classic, it has the most punch, it has the most importance, it has something that it's constantly being updated on by the designers that work at the house, and in reality it's like over 100 years old, and for that I'm standing. I do love this little boot chapeau bag. If you don't know, I'm pretty positive chapeau means hat, and the boot means small or something like that, or cute, I don't know. It has this beautiful rounded shape, and then at the bottom it's flat, so in reality you can open it like this. It's gorgeous, it's stunning, and on top of that, Cardi also then referenced the iconic Lil' Kim by doing her hair and sort of having it like sprayed with some sort of color that essentially puts the Louis Vuitton monogram on her really long blonde hair. It's a reference back to Lil' Kim, and I feel like we should do a video on Lil' Kim. Not me, because I don't know enough about her, but we should get somebody to do it because I want to know more about the queen. I'm happy that Cardi is referencing back to icons of past while also sort of updating the Louis Vuitton monogram in her own signature little way. Next up is Chloe and Halle, and they are wearing Fendi. Now you can see that they're with the iconic peekaboo bags. Halle is wearing a white sort of prairie gown that has these gathered little ruffles in the chiffon. The belt, not obsessed with, but I get it, it's Fendi, it's, you know, a belt. The dress sort of has this amazing ripple and stitch throughout the entirety of it, and it's this line work that I think we've seen quite a bit from Silvia Venturini Fendi, who is currently the creative director of the brand. I'm not as obsessed with the sheer little sleeves, but I do love the way that whatever straps are coming down sort of creates this shape on the arms. It's different, it's something I really don't think I've ever seen before, and it's a cute little subtle way to sort of play on spaghetti straps and, you know, make them kind of different and chic and styled. As for Chloe, I love this color blue on her. I think it's beautiful, I think it's stunning, and honestly, this is sort of the stuff I've been asking for. I feel like Halle always sort of like turns it out, and Chloe's sort of left in the dust sometimes, and here, I love the color on her. I think it's beautiful. I love the sheer sleeves. I think, you know, it sort of has that like puffed style, but it's a little bit more reduced. It's not as crazy. It's not as ridiculous. The length is gorgeous on her, and I love the hem of the dress as well. You can see it a lot more on Chloe's look rather than Halle's. The white bag attached, also a fan of. They both look great, and I can't wait to see what they do with Fendi in the future. Like, imagine them in those beautiful leather coats, like the same leather coat. Oh! Again, Chloe and Halle are turning it out, and I'm very happy because they are wearing this brand called Rui Jiao, which is a sort of young, up-and-coming brand. There are these like rib knit pieces that sort of are like bathing suits, but they're all attached by these little like fasteners or like pieces of metal that sort of stretch the knit, but also create holes and shapes so it exposes the body at the same time. It's actually really, really brilliant. It's asymmetrical, so you have, you know, a leg warmer kind of style. You have this darker blue that sort of comes and drapes on the side, and this sort of teal little piece with a bathing suit sort of moment underneath. In reality, I love it. I'm very interested in it, and I'm hoping to see more of it on their album and music videos. They've been really doing amazing work with all of the music videos in the middle of the pandemic. So I'm excited to see what they're doing in the future. I think they're brilliant, I think they're stunning, and I love it. Let's talk about Halle's look though. Halle has more of a sculptural look from Rui Zhao. There's a kind of a knit bodysuit. It has those same fasteners. You can see it on the thigh here, and there are these like interesting little leg warmers that sort of come to the foot. I don't know. I love it though. The thing that's really, really interesting, I have to say, is this sculptural sort of body piece. I don't know if it's actually clothing. I don't know how it is attached to her body. I don't even know if it wraps around the entirety of her torso, but it is really gorgeous. It's sculptural, it's different, it's interesting. I'd love to learn about it. Next up, we are talking about another pair of sisters. Now, we're gonna be talking about Dixie and Charli D'Amelio. So in the same Vanity Fair shoot as Addison Rae, the sisters are wearing a bit of Chanel. Now, Charli, from what I understand, is some sort of Prada ambassador. She's worked with Prada in the past. Again, bank teller, realness, how many 20s would you like for 100, sir? And here, honestly, I get this. It's different to me than the Addison Rae picture because it's really like two sort of ribbed crop top pieces that have a Chanel logo right at the neck. And to me, I think that's sort of what Chanel would want from the D'Amelio sisters. It just makes sense. It's something that's easy. It's something that their audience is going to understand. And it's very much so sellable to a young demographic who wants to emulate these TikTok stars and at the same time will use their parents' lots of money to buy these pieces. Is it revolutionary whatsoever? No. Is it something that I think reflects Virginie Viard's Chanel? Absolutely not. To me, it's just sort of commerciality and branding pieces that, you know, Chanel is trying to sell and, you know, make a quick buck on. Dixie then does wear a Valentino dress, and here, this is a Valentino dress I can get behind. The colors of orange and pink sort of pop and punch. There is this sort of scrunched and draped and pulled little section at the torso, and then you can actually see the way that this dress is pleated, and like I'm a slut for a pleat at this point. I love the sleeves as well, and to me this sort of embodies a real image for Dixie. Do I know what the image is? No, but it has some sort of panache, it has some sort of interest. The colors are popping on her skin. It's gorgeous, it's wonderful. She's surrounded by flowers, Valentino flowers, it's a thing, you know, it's cute. I'm happy with it. I hope to see more of this sort of styling in the future for Dixie. The final looks that we have to discuss are from Dixie D'Amelio's Be Happy music video. Now, I can't be happy with the looks from this music video because they suck. In reality, she's just wearing like very boring, basic Hollister, Abercrombie & Fitch, knockoff Kurt Cobain, flannels over crop tops and denim shorts. And now, this is her first music video. I understand, again, we're in a coronavirus pandemic, but you're shooting for Vanity Fair and you're wearing Valentino in it, so I want something to happen here. These TikTok stars, they have to develop a signature look. We are at the point where we're in the 2020s. These are the young people that everybody's looking towards. If you are just referencing Kurt Cobain and you don't even know that you're referencing Kurt Cobain because you're wearing flannels and denim shorts like that, it's tired, it's boring, it's sad, and to me, it's just gonna waste a whole nother decade on styles that are referential to the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. I get it, I understand it, it's easy to do that, but for Dixie, you're in a music video. You're trying to create a persona, a status, a sound. The thing is, every single celebrity that is a musician normally has a sound and they have a style that follows. Sometimes it's not great. Sometimes it's Ariana Grande's thigh-high boots. Other times it's crazy, ridiculous, over-the-top Lady Gaga. Sometimes it's Beyonce and 49 different goddamn looks for Black is King. But you need to have a look. You need to have a signature. You need to have a style. And if you don't have a style that is genuinely interesting, nobody's gonna wanna listen to the music after a while. And that's me being harsh, but in reality, I think there are some really cool young brands that Dixie could start working with that might actually develop a style and aesthetic and something that might actually last, not just for TikTok, might not just last on the iTunes charts, but might last 30 years in the future when we're talking about fashion of the 2020s. Next up is another musician that I'm honestly very obsessed with. Like, I like cash in my hair to my ass too, Flo Milli. Now, Flo Milli put out a hot song that was probably one of the most instrumental songs in the early TikTok world, which was Beef Flo Milli Mix. And she has put out a debut album called Ho, Why Is You Here? And honestly, she's turning looks. Now, in the album cover, she is wearing a young sort of brand called Utiere? I don't know how to say it, unfortunately, but there is a custom look here, and it is this sort of orange, metallic, shimmery, rib knit crop top and short look. And the long sleeves of the crop top actually have these sort of ostrich feathers jumping off of it. Is it anything crazy, ridiculous, over the top? No, but I'm actually very interested in Flo Milli. I think that she genuinely could sort of be one of the next fashion stars that we're looking towards and loving. I would love for her to, you know, keep it up, keep moving, keep evolving, keep changing, keep trying things, and bring on a team that in reality is really going to push it to the next level. The other look that I think is actually really fantastic from Flo Milli is this vintage sort of 1970s Poochie look. Now there's this like Poochie bodysuit and there's this Poochie scarf that goes over her head, and honestly, I love it. Poochie, 1970s, crazy psychedelic prints and silks and beautiful fabrics is kind of a hot little sexy moment. And here, I'm happy to see it. I think that she's been working a lot with vintage, and I think a lot of young artists do sort of reference vintage or pull from vintage because it's probably a lot easier to get those sort of pieces rather than the bigger luxury brands to sort of send to you. But in the same way, I'm happy to see Flo Milli actually working with young independent designers. And is it the most revolutionary thing in the entire world? No. But is it something that I feel like we could genuinely sort of adapt and evolve and sort of work with in a way that creates a signature aesthetic for her? Absolutely. So I'm excited to see what comes in the future. And Ho, if you're not looking good, why is you here? That's my question. Next up is a quick little thing, but if you don't know, Gigi Hadid is pregger. She is pregnant. I'm very happy for her and Zayn. But the thing is, I think pregnancy style in the middle of coronavirus is very important. She's actually wearing the Holiday. Now, this is a sleepwear brand from what I understand, but I'm just sort of obsessed with this Prada puke green checkerboard two-piece and a biscuit set. It's just really cute, it's really sweet, and you know what? You can be chic and comfortable when you're having a bebe. It's just the truth. Gigi Hadid proves that. Next up is Joey King, and she is wearing Valentino, and like Joey King gets a lot of hate, but for me, as somebody that just sort of loves the fashion of celebrities, she has always tried to step it up. She's worn Iris Van Herpen when she was in her infancy of celebrity, so I don't get why people are complaining. Here she's wearing Valentino, and this was sort of like a fuck you to her Twitter haters. And honestly, this little checked, sequined Valentino black and brown jacket and skirt moment, I understand why she said fuck you, because she looks great. I'm happy for it. It's chic, it's cute, it's sexy. I'm sold. Next up is Joshua Richards, and I believe that he is another TikTok star, and he's wearing Versace. And here's my thing. I love Gianni Versace. Do I love the Versace that we have now? No. I get it. It's this sort of like neon artistic take on the Versace Baroque style and print, but does it really do anything for me? No. Does it interest me? No. And also, like, I'd rather just be able to see it than him being like half in a pool where I see all the print swagged and it's just like a glump of color that looks like pollution in clean water. Next up is Kendall Jenner, and for Burberry, she is wearing a Burberry, Thomas Burberry TB print. I do like the colors of it, the T and the B, there's the blue and the orange, and honestly, in certain colors, I actually like this monogram that Riccardo Tisci has developed, but the thing about this is I'm pretty positive this is like a CGI shoot, which means she's now like Lil Michaela, and honestly, Kendall Jenner's modeling personality reminds me of a robot, so it's sort of on brand. Next is Kim Kardashian, and now she is wearing Jay Air, who is an artist, and he actually custom paints Birkins or Kellys. I don't fucking know which one this is. I don't really care. I'm probably never gonna learn. But here it's this sort of bandana paisley painted Birkin that's sort of the thing of interest, and Kim has her red hair on and her bandana paisley pants. Now, there sort of is an amazing history of the bandana. I believe that it originates in India and sort of has gone through multiple iterations of cultural value and importance. It was really popular with cowboys. It was popular through different gangs in the 80s and 90s. It has such a history, so many different meanings to so many different cultures. Some not so great through systemic racism. Others, you know, great through history and development from certain regions that have developed so many amazing aspects of garment making, yet never get the credit that they truly deserve. Here, it's interesting, but in reality, I think for Kim, as somebody that is constantly on the cultural appropriation spectrum, I don't think she's really pulling from Indian heritage. I don't really think she's pulling from the cowboy heritage. Personally, I think she's probably pulling from the African-American heritage, because that's what she loves to do. I can 100% see why people are saying that this is evident Kim Kardashian cultural appropriation. Next up is Maria Carla Boscano, and she is in the Valentino campaign, which was called like Empathy Valentino. And here she's wearing the rose petal bustier and bag, and this was one of my favorite things from the fall 2020 Valentino ready-to-wear show. It was probably like my only favorite thing from the entire show, but it's a really beautiful technique. I actually realized that it's actually developed from old Valentino styles. The ones from a long time ago were really scary, but the ones that Pure Palo has developed here are beautiful, they're gorgeous, they're absolutely stunning, and I can only imagine how much time and effort goes into cutting each piece of leather and sewing or stapling or doing whatever they had to do to sort of create these actual flower petals that sort of create a very Trompe l'oeil-esque rose. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's stunning, and I want to see more of it, Valentino. Next up is Michael Lay. He is another TikTok star, and he is wearing Valentino here, and it's another one of the Pure Palo sort of ready-to-wear styles. It's menswear, and it has all of this big writing on it. Valentino collaborates with quite a bit of artists now, from what I understand. Am I obsessed? No. And again, I think Michael Lay, as much as any of the other TikTok stars, really can develop a signature style and silhouette and aesthetic that he could make very popular and something that we talk about in fashion history in the future. They just have to like think a little bit outside of the LA aesthetic and hype house and all that sort of shit. Like, make something interesting, make something cool. We want to see something great. Do something great. Please. We're bringing Valentino back up because Naomi Campbell is wearing a beautiful rose petal leather coat with the rose petal bag here. Now, you can't really see the look up close and in detail, but you can see the texture of it, and like, honestly, I want a black rose petal coat. Like, they're beautiful, they're amazing, I can't stop talking about them. I'm obsessed. Next up was probably one of the biggest moments of July 2020, and also one of the biggest fashion moments of July 2020. Nicki Minaj announced that she was pregnant, and here in one of her announcement photos, she wore the designer Petsa, and here, honestly, she's showing off her quite iconic technique of the water on cloth technique. Now, here you're probably gonna see when we look up close, oh, like they just threw some water on this dress, and that's why it looks like that. But no, her and her team actually developed a technique where, in reality, that draping, it's not wet. There's no wetness anywhere, but somehow the technique and the drape that they've developed actually looks so realistic that it almost seems like somebody threw water on Nicki Minaj and said, get out there, let's take the photo. Honestly, if you don't know Petsa, go follow her, check her out, very cool. Like, this is the stuff that I'm talking about for these young TikTok people, is look to these cool designers. You're on goddamn Instagram all day long. Find somebody cool to wear, collaborate with, create, do something interesting. So shout out to Nicki Minaj and her team, because she's giving me very Madonna in the Petsa, in the beautiful, gorgeous, falling water situation. It's gorgeous, it's stunning, I'm amazing, and I can't wait for the baby to be born. Next up is Poppy. Now, Poppy is a YouTube star, and here she's wearing Victor and Rolf. Now, she's worn Victor and Rolf quite a few times, and I think she's very avant-garde, so I understand why Victor and Rolf wants to dress her. Here she's wearing one of the looks from their haute couture show. We did a whole review of Victor and Rolf haute couture show, and this look is something that very much so reminds me of Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones. I mean, the silhouette that's sort of kimono-esque, but has the sort of medieval flair, and it has the beautiful quilted bow with this gorgeous Sherpa sort of style in gray. I love it. It's beautiful. I think Poppy actually looks really, really great here, and honestly, I wouldn't even recognize her with this hair. So honestly, I think she's channeled it very, very well, and I hope to see more good Poppy, Victor, and Rolf collaborations in the future. Next up is something that we really have to talk about, which is Princess Beatrice's wedding dress. Now, I despise this dress. I think it is hideous, vile, disgusting, awful, humiliating, all rolled into one. Now, this look was actually adapted from a Norman Hartwell gown that was designed for the Queen. Now, the Queen wore it, and she had this beautiful bubble hem, and honestly, like, bubble hems could punch me in the face and I'd say thank you. They're beautiful. It's the silhouette is just so fantastic. Like, the way it curves in at the bottom, it's like a feat of physics. It's gorgeous. Now, Beatrice decided in her infinite wisdom to try and turn out a look and to have the Norman Hartnell dress adapted for her. What she did is put this god-awful like taffeta hem at the bottom. So you can see the actual white, and then at a certain point it hits this really god-awful like 18-inch shiny reflective ivory on the dress. Like, why you wouldn't just leave the bubble hem, I don't understand. There's all of this embroidery throughout the entirety of the dress, and it has this sort of spaghetti strap, and then she added this like ugly chiffon top and sleeve situation underneath, and then she's wearing one of the Queen's tiaras, but I don't really give a shit about that. I'm just really upset that she totally discarded, ruined, and damaged a beautiful bubble hem Norman Hartnell vintage gown. Why would you do that? Who told you that was a good idea? Because obviously, don't talk to them anymore. They suck. And if you're the person that told you that was a good idea, well, stop talking to yourself. It's not helping. Next up is Rita Ora, and now I have to ask the question. Rita Ora, why are you here? Now, she's wearing Victor and Rolf, as well as Miss Poppy, and she's wearing the emoji gown. Now, as I said previously, who the fuck wears emojis on clothing? This is not the 2014 Victoria's Secret fashion show. Emojis aren't cute, emojis aren't chic. It's just fugly. I don't know if the Victor and Rolf PR team was like, yeah, we hate her too. Let's dress her in the shittiest dress. Next up is Shea Coulee, and now I'm going to put a spoiler here. Shea Coulee is the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 5, and if Twitter ruined it for me the day of, well, I'm sorry, I'm ruining it for you now. But Shea is wearing Christopher John Rogers. Now, I love Shea. I love the collaborations that she's done with Christopher John Rogers, and I'll never forget the time that I sat behind Shea at a Christopher John Rogers fashion show. It was great. It was stunning. There's photo evidence of it. Insert the picture. Here she is wearing a look from his fall 2020 collection. It's this color-blocked suit that sort of has a light yellow and then sort of a mid-tone yellow and then sort of a, I don't know what kind of yellow that is. And then sort of like a chartreusey yellow. In reality, it's beautiful. I think Shea has turned out so many great looks on the All-Stars runway. I think she deserved the win. I just think that she genuinely has a grasp on the fashion industry and fashion designers that not a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race queens have. And to me, she's another sort of drag queen that I think genuinely elevates the style and aura and aesthetics of drag and really turns out a look that's better than most of the celebrities that we've talked about today. Next up is the cover of Vogue featuring Simone Biles. Now, Simone here is wearing Bottega Veneta, and this photo shoot was very controversial because Annie Leibovitz shot it, and many people have come out and said, yeah, that white lady doesn't know how to shoot black people, doesn't know how to light for black people, which, like, you've been shooting covers of Vogues for how many years, and you don't know how to properly light a photo shoot for a black person? Anna, sweetie, go. Just go. Just go, because you keep hiring the same people that obviously don't know what they're doing. Here she's wearing this Bottega Veneta bodysuit, and I do think that it sort of correlates to Simone's style. She is a gymnast. I'm sure that she wears a lot of bodysuits, so I get it. It's just Bottega Veneta by Daniel Lee is like pretty ugly. I don't really think the bodysuit looks very luxurious whatsoever. Like, I think for Bottega Veneta, who, you know, specializes in leathers and things like this, I'd like to see something a bit more Bottega. about it. Like, I like to see a bag, I like to see something on the cover that's interesting and cool. I just don't think that they did a great job of styling Simone here. Here, she's wearing Dior Haute Couture, and as much as I don't like Maria Grazia, I do think this sort of flouncy chiffon, short little cocktail dress is a great way for Simone to show off movement. What she does is all about movement, and I mean, if you've ever watched the woman work, she could move. So here, honestly, as much as I don't like Maria Grazia, I think it was a good, strong choice for, you know, that chiffon is moving and flowing and creating shape and direction while she moves, and I like it. The other thing about Simone is she is quite short, so you really do have to work with certain proportions because you don't want the dress to overtake her. So again, I think the shortness and the height of the dress works. It makes sense. I get it. The last look, honestly, I think is actually really, really great. It is a Marc Jacobs look, and it has this sort of gold, you know, tone and backdrop, which honestly reminds me of Gustav Klimt's portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer. And the one thing that I sort of wish had been done was, I wish the dress was gold. I understand it's silver, but if it was gold, I feel like it really would have been this beautiful ode and sort of modern portrait that reflected that Gustav Klimt image. The only reason I really bring it up is because the background sort of has these squares that really do remind me of Gustav Klimt's work. So honestly, whoever styled it didn't really do a great job here, because why didn't you find a gold dress to work and make it happen and then be a reference to, you know, the portrait? That's what I think. Next up is a legend, Viola Davis, for the cover of Vanity Fair. Now here she is wearing Max Mara. It's this beautiful sort of dress coat, and it has this beautiful, I don't know if it's back, I don't know if they styled it backwards like that, but essentially it sort of exposes all of Viola Davis's back. It's in this beautiful blue. It punches right off of that dark blue backdrop, and the Vanity Fair in the light blue also is amazing. And then the fact that Viola's silhouette with her afro sort of covers the Vanity Fair, it's really beautiful. I think she looks stunning. I think she looks amazing. I'm very happy to see it. And like, Max Mara plus Viola Davis should be something that we see a lot more of, in my opinion. Like, Viola Davis doing like street style in a Max Mara teddy coat all of the time, I would pay a lot of money to see it. There is another image of Viola from the shoot where she is wearing La Vie by CK. If you guys don't know La Vie by CK, it is one of my favorite brands. It sort of takes these beautiful African wax prints and creates really gorgeous silhouettes that have these beautiful mermaid tails or gigantic trains, but they're mixed with these really beautiful, bright, colorful prints that honestly are stunning. Here she's wearing this yellow and blue one, and again, like, see what I'm saying? Like, the colors just bounce off of each other in such a beautiful way. I do wish the background was a little bit different. Like, I understand the yellow on the yellow, it's cool, it's cute, but I do think maybe like a black would have allowed this look to really like pop. Next up is Yahya Abdul Mateen II. Now Yahya is wearing a Pierre Moss suit from the Spring-Summer 2020 collection. Now the collection was actually inspired by Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who was a gospel singer who used a guitar, who inspired the likes of Elvis Presley and some of the early white rock and roll singers. Now here you can actually see that the lapels and placket of this jacket actually have the shape of a guitar on it, which in reality was one of sort of the signature styles and looks from that collection. I do love the flare pants here as well in this beautiful blue, and I love the way that the blue suit is actually piped in yellow. It's a little detail that I really love from Kirby. In reality, I think it's beautiful. I think it's stunning. I love that he's not wearing a shirt underneath it, because like, listen, if I had a six-pack like that, I wouldn't wear a shirt underneath my Pierre Moss suit either. Finally is Yara Shahidi, and she is wearing Kenneth Ize. Now, currently, I'm a little bit of an owner of Kenneth Ize myself, so I love this suit. Kenneth has developed his own sort of signature stripes that are these beautiful vertical stripes, and a lot of his pieces, like the jacket and pants here, which you might not even be able to tell, actually have these really long, beautiful fringe pieces on them. Like, they fall down almost like frayed hems that are meant to be frayed like that. I mean, you can see it on the sleeves, you can see it on the bottoms and hems of the pants. It's beautiful, it's stunning, and like, honestly, in real life, like, they just like touch you and you feel really beautiful about yourself. Kenneth is an amazing designer. I'm absolutely obsessed with him, and I'm so happy to see that Yara is wearing one of his looks for Elle. It's beautiful, the colors are great, there are so many different styles of these stripes, and the black and the white and the blue and the red. It's not a color combination that I think I'm usually used to, but I think Kenneth is always sort of making me reassess the color combinations and color blockings that I wouldn't normally like, but think about them in a way that maybe comes from a different mindset. So I'm obsessed, I'm very happy, and I love it. So that is the end of today's video. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and obviously for the August 2020 roast, keep me in the know of the things you want me to talk about, whether it's a look or a celebrity or a style. Let me know. It helps me, you know, do what you want. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and TTYL.